Morena, tēnā koutou katoa. Good morning everyone and welcome to Ryman Healthcare's full year results presentation. My name is David Kerr and sitting beside me is Gordie McLeod, our Chief Executive, and then beyond him of course David Bennett, our Chief Financial Officer. So thank you to everyone who's made it along this morning. It's a special morning actually this morning because we've been joined by Kevin and Joe Hickman. So Kevin was a co-founder of the company and recently retired as a director. And critically, what Kev did was he set this ship on its course. He established those core values which have been with us for 30-something years, and he has enabled us to operate in the way that we have, constantly focusing on those values. So Kev, you'll be pleased to hear that things are unchanged. They're still firmly in our DNA, those original values. Also joined by Jeff Cumming. So Jeff, welcome. And Jeff is a director of Ryman, has been for a little over a year. And Jeff has been a long-term investor in the company and has had a long-term interest in how we go. And in fact, he rejoined the board, having been on the board just immediately after the IPO. So that's just on 20 years ago. And he's really proven to be of a great value in his role as a director. And finally, I should just acknowledge Andrew Clements. Clem, great to see you also. Clem has been a director for probably a decade and has had an active interest and active result in terms of moulding the company into what it is. So welcome everybody, but welcome specifically to those three. So this morning's format includes an overview from myself, followed by presentations from firstly Gordie and then from David. I'm going to talk about the investments we've made in our residents, our team, and striving for clinical excellence. Gordie will then talk about the operational highlights and about the momentum that we're gaining in Victoria and in New Zealand. David will then give you some greater detail on the financial results. At the end of the presentation, we anticipate opening the session up for questions from the floor. Then following that, we'll take questions from any callers who are on the conference call line. At that time, we'll bring you around a microphone for any questions in the room so that you're easily heard. It's also important that people on the webcast can hear you clearly. So for those of you listening on the phone or on the phone conference, the operator will advise you when you can ask a question, and we anticipate wrapping up in around an hour's time. So our results today reflect a solid year, given the current trading environment, which has included some challenging market conditions. The headline numbers were that the audited underlying profit rose 11.5% to $227 million. The reported, or IFRS profit, which includes, of course, the unrealised valuations, declined 16% to $326 million. The 2018 full year result was boosted by changes to the independent valuation assumptions, but there were no significant changes to the assumptions in the 2019 year. The full year dividend has been lifted to 22.7 cents per share, in line with the growth in the underlying profit. Payment will be on June 21st with a record date of June 7. Our net assets have reached $2.17 billion, up from $1.94 billion, and importantly, our operating cash flows rose 15% to $401.4 million, with cash receipts from residents exceeding $1 billion for the first time. This has allowed us to invest a record $552 million in new and existing villages during the year, up from an investment last year of $478 million. Our underlying profit of $227 million reflects how the company has actually been trading and is used to determine the dividend. The result came within the $223 to $238 million range that we set at the half-year result briefing, and so is in line with the market consensus. Our medium-term target continues to be a doubling of our profit every 5 years. This, of course, translates to our increasing the underlying profit by approximately 15% each year over the medium term. We fell short of this for two reasons. Firstly, we took some longer-term strategic decisions to reinvest in the business, which we believe will help the performance in coming years. Secondly, resale volumes were flat. As you know, it's hard to predict the number of resales we get in the short term, but we'd expect volumes to grow in the medium term with the portfolio's growth. As a company, we're very focused on growth, but not interested in compromising on our core values of ensuring that resident care has absolute primacy. We think it's a solid result, given the decline in the Melbourne housing market and a cooling off in the New Zealand market, particularly here in Auckland. Despite these developments, our villages remained in demand during the year. Occupancy at our established care centres was at 97%. While the resales were flat, we sold almost all our stock that came up, which we take as a positive sign that our villages are hitting the mark. As at March 31, we had only 1% of our resale stock unsold. Our build rate during the year lifted by 42%, and we have 20 new villages either in development or in our land bank, which gives us a great platform for growth in the years ahead. Ryman's a company with a wonderful purpose: to care for older people. We build and operate vibrant retirement communities with excellent care available. The care we provide, in Kevin's words, has to be good enough for Mum. We've been doing this now for 35 years, and we have a sustainable business model that is highly efficient at recycling capital so that we can continue to build and grow. Our villages are built to be sustainable. We are the long-term owners, so we ensure they're built to the highest standards. Our villages are an extraordinarily efficient use of land when you compare that to a conventional subdivision. We've got a program of work to make them even more environmentally sustainable. We've measured our carbon footprint, and we're working on ways to reduce our impact by saving on energy consumption and waste within each village. We'll be trialling solar-powered townhouses, and we've installed an electric car charging network here in Auckland. We've introduced electric cars into our fleet. We're currently trialling a pilot e-cab service and a car sharing service at 3 villages using low-emission vehicles. This means our residents will have access to our own version of an Uber service, with a driver and car at their disposal for appointments. The car share service means each village will also have a car available for residents' day trips. At a point when loneliness is being described as the world's next epidemic, we think our villages are a great antidote. Our team does its best to make them as vibrant as possible, with great food, exercise, classes, and a wide range of social activities. We think it's hard to be lonely if you're surrounded by a caring, like-minded community and an array of activities to choose from. It's our mission to bring as many Ryman villages as we can to as many places in New Zealand and Victoria. To do this, we need to be profitable, and we believe that both purpose and profits are good companions to each other. Our most critical asset is, of course, our people. So you'll be pleased to hear that we've invested heavily in our team. During the year, we took a strategic decision to act quickly on registered nurse pay in New Zealand to ensure that we were ahead of the rest of the industry. So we immediately matched the pay rates being offered to DHB nurses. That decision, which was worth $5 million a year, has kept us ahead of the curve, and I believe as a result we have an extremely loyal team. We've taken the decision to increase pay again across the board, and from July, the minimum adult hourly rate at our New Zealand villages will lift to $20 per hour. We've also invested in developing our people. We're establishing the Ryman Academy to develop our staff in conjunction with a number of excellent education providers, including the Melbourne Business School, who will provide world-class development courses and support for our senior leaders. We're also working with other training establishments and universities to provide additional courses for other members of the team. Our Lead, Energise and Perform, or LEAP, leadership program is now well into its second year, and 280 of our leaders have been participating. We've refined and developed the course and are launching LEAP 2.0. Initiatives such as the LEAP program and the Ryman Academy recognise that there's more than just pay to work, and we know our team want to build their careers and gain expertise with us. Our programs are all built around coaching, mentoring and problem solving in the workplace. People learn by doing. It's a bit like swimming. You cannot learn from a book, you've got to get in the water. Having a career path at a company with purpose and a strong future makes for a highly engaged workforce, and our latest team survey showed engagement at a record level for us. Our aim is to be the employer of choice in a competitive market, and clearly our residents will continue to benefit from being cared for by professional, stable, engaged and well-prepared and trained teams. We think the world of our team and so do our residents, and we will continue to invest in them. Would not be a success without those highly engaged teams, so we're delighted to learn recently that we've been named the most trusted brand in the aged care and retirement sector for the 5th time. We've won it 5 out of the 6 years that it's been made in New Zealand. Then last week, Ryman won a Best Innovation Award at the Asia Pacific Elder Care Innovation Awards in Singapore. We've talked about Ryman before with you, and Ryman's been a significant investment. So it was great to get international recognition for the work. Our pursuit of clinical excellence has continued. We've added a medications advisory committee, which includes respected geriatricians, a specialist pharmacist, and a Health Quality and Safety Commission representative. The aim of this is to better understand how medications are affecting the people they're meant to help and to make sure the medications are appropriate. We've also taken on a specialist medical researcher to analyse the data that we gather in Ryman. It's proven to be a treasure trove of insights into the health challenges that our older residents experience, effectively closing the loop between the visiting doctors and the health outcomes that everybody seeks. We couldn't have done that without Ryman. A significant project during the year involved a refresh of our approach to dementia care. We've been providing dementia care for over 20 years, and it is a cornerstone of our care offering. We currently have 840 dementia beds and have 660 more in the build program. We'll be rolling out a program called Ryman Life, which is a new approach to dementia care during this coming year. The approach supports the person suffering from dementia to be happy in the moment, in the best environment possible. We've also introduced our first telehealth clinics during the year, which use technology to connect our clinical teams across the Ryman villages so that specialist advice is more easily obtained. The wide range of investments that we've made over the past 5 years in clinical improvements and from the introduction of Ryman are really delivering results. In July 2017, we had 11 villages with 4-year certification from the Ministry of Health. As of today, we have 25 villages with 4-year certification, and this is generally regarded as the gold standard in quality measurement. In fact, Logan Campbell, which is our latest fully operational village here in Auckland, received 4-year certification in its very first audit. Normally, new villages are given shorter terms so that the auditors can see how things bed in. We think that's an extraordinary achievement. So I've talked a lot about clinical innovation, which is always a focus, but I think it's important to note that we also are putting a lot of effort into lifting the bar for the independent residents. We have more than 7,500 independent residents, and our operations team has been busy working on a number of initiatives at enhancing their quality of life. So we've called this Ryman Delight. For many of our residents, cooking has become a bit of a chore. So we've taken our Project Delicious recipes, turned them into ready-to-eat meals for independent residents. They can buy them from us, heat them, and eat them at home, taking the pain out of cooking. We've introduced a new hosting service aimed at making their village centres more of a destination in the evenings. Residents, their families and friends can enjoy bar snacks and drink with their friends in our village lounge. Our residents love films. We thought we could make more of the movie theatres, so we've introduced new films and later session times so they can enjoy a night at the movies after meeting for a drink and something to eat. A number of years ago, we introduced a Ryman benefits card, which provides discounts for our team with more than 50 of our various suppliers. We think our residents should be able to share the benefits as well, and we'll be providing benefits cards for them with similar discounts. Cards mean that the residents and team can make the most of our buying power, and our suppliers are more than happy to be part of the Ryman community. Keeping our existing villages up to date is is, and in great condition, is a further area of investment during the year. We have 36 villages in operation now, and that's a large-scale property portfolio to care for. We've got a team of specialists dedicated to looking after our existing facilities management and refurbishment program. It's important we meet our promise at all the sites, and I recently visited Woodcote Village in Christchurch, one of Kev's very first villages, and also the Rowena Jackson Village in Invercargill. And I was really delighted to see each of them was in great shape, strong occupancy, and that they were villages of which we can continue to feel proud. So momentum that the company has built up is very significant. We've talked about 5 villages open in Victoria by the end of 2020, and that target continues to be realistic. We acquired 6 sites during the year, including 3 in Victoria, where we now have a total of 10 sites. At this moment, we have 20 sites under construction or in the planning and design stages. And Gordy's going to talk you through those in just a moment. Finally, you're all aware of the demographics that provide the backdrop for our growth plans. So this first slide shows you the current demographics which have driven our growth to date. And the second slide shows the growth over the next 30 years. These demographics underpin everything we do. We listed on the NZX almost 20 years ago, knowing the potential of these demographics. It's now my pleasure to hand over to Gordy to talk to you in more detail. Thank you.